For more Haunting Live real experiences, be sure to follow us on our social on Instagram, Thread, Facebook, and also Blue Sky. And don't forget to also check us out on our official website, HauntingLivePodcast.com.
Hey everyone, check out our merchandise that we have now listed underneath HauntingLivePodcast.com. We used to be on Etsy, but we found a little bit of troubles with that, so we are now on HauntingLivePodcast.com with our merch store. Check it out. We've got so much items all together with cleansing items and crystals and so much more. Check us out, HauntingLivePodcast.com. Hey everyone, it's Brother Chris here from Divine Oracle Podcast. Join me Mondays as I do readings and I post them right here in Podbeam. It's easy, it's good lighting, and it's your weekly readings. So join me, will you?
Follow us here at Haunting Live. Our new show, we just started doing new shows in November, and we are honored to have a brand new co-host on our shows now. Yolanta Meri is our co-host, and she does a lot of work for us on the side and introduces people to the show and discusses different topics on the show. So we're really happy to have her here this season. So go check out our brand new episodes that will host the Haunting Live podcast.
Hi fans of all things paranormal, my name is Yolanta Meri and I am the co-host of the Haunting Live podcast. This week I had the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with a lifelong psychic medium. In fact, she comes from a long line of psychic mediums. She's the author of 5 novels and the creator of a multimedia platform online for all things psychic and paranormal. Her name is Kirsten Langston, and you may know her as Third Eye Champagne. If you're a fan of the podcast, be sure to like the link.
Okay, so as a child, I've always been psychic. And there are things, so now this is cool. So there are things I have no memory of that people will tell me. So my mom, one of the first things my mom ever told me was when I was really little. So the house we lived in was haunted. It was an old Victorian. And when my parents first moved in there, I was I think I was 3 weeks old. I was like, Mom, you're out of your mind. I was born in November. It was Christmas, and then she moved. I mean, it was just bam, 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 bam. Like I don't know what she was thinking. But so they get into the house, and they bought it from this old Portuguese lady who had passed away. They bought it from the family. She gets into the house, and the woman's name was Josephine. There's a robe in the closet. She goes, oh, it's an old nasty robe. So of course she's not going to keep it. So she puts it in the garbage. Between the time it took for her to walk from the garbage can back into the house, the robe is back in the closet.
So, Kirsten, you're a psychic medium, you're a tarot reader. How did all of that come up?
Okay, so as a child, I've always been psychic. And there are things, so now this is cool. So there are things I have no memory of that people will tell me. So my mom, one of the first things my mom ever told me was when I was really little. So the house we lived in was haunted. It was an old Victorian. And when my parents first moved in there, I was I think I was 3 weeks old. I was like, Mom, you're out of your mind. I was born in November. It was Christmas, and then she moved. I mean, it was just bam, 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 bam. Like I don't know what she was thinking. But so they get into the house, and they bought it from this old Portuguese lady who had passed away. They bought it from the family. She gets into the house, and the woman's name was Josephine. There's a robe in the closet. She goes, oh, it's an old nasty robe. So of course she's not going to keep it. So she puts it in the garbage. Between the time it took for her to walk from the garbage can back into the house, the robe is back in the closet.
Oh, no.
No, yeah, she literally turned her back on the garbage can, walked into the house, and the robe was already back in the closet. So that is the house I grew up in. And when I was 2 or 3 years old, I guess I was running around, but I would always kind of skirt this one area. And my mom finally asked me, she said, why are you doing that? Why are you going around? And I said, well, because I don't want to walk into that mean Santa Claus man that's standing there. And then this is great. So this is a very creepy. So this one creeps me out even more. And my mom did not tell me this until about a year ago. Okay. So I have, this was not, and these are not memories that I have. I have no memory of this. I don't, I was too young, but my mom comes home from work one day. It's hot. It's July. My dad has all the windows open except the window in my room, and I won't let him open it. And she comes home and she hears me talking, and I'm probably about 3 years old. And Dad said she's been in there talking for an hour out the window at something. And when I went in to open the window because it's so hot, she said, Daddy, you can't open the window. There's a pig outside that's trying to come. How creepy is this, right? There's a pig outside that's trying to come in.
Yeah, I've seen too many horror movies. That's a pass
Right.
for me. Yeah.
Right. I know. Just like a pig. But apparently, I stood there and spoke to whatever this was for over an hour. Both my parents witnessed it. They didn't see anything out the window, but I was adamant that this thing wants to get in the house and you can't open the window.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is me little. And then apparently, and I don't remember this, so my niece, I started picking her up from school, and one of the teachers went to so I went to the same school. So one of the teachers, her teacher, a fifth grade teacher, went to school with me. And the teacher pulls me aside one day. It's a Catholic school, okay? So this is not like stuff they want to talk about. Teacher pulls me aside one day and she says, do you remember me? And I said, I'm sorry, I don't, and I know that we went, she was in 8th grade, I was in 1st grade. So it's not, I wouldn't really remember her. But anyway, she pulls me aside one day and she says, do you remember me? And I said, not really, but I know we went to school together. And she says, well, I was your 1st grade helper. And when I was in 8th grade, I would come in and help you with your work. And I said, oh, okay. And she goes, you don't probably remember this, but you turned to me one day and you said, out of nowhere, I can see and talk to dead people. I have no memory of it.
Oh, wow. So
None
you really
whatsoever.
were just like the kid from Sixth Sense.
I was the kid from the Sixth Sense, but maybe a little bit better looking. But I mean, no, I have no memory of it. And she doesn't want to bring it up because, like I said, it's a Catholic school. They don't want to talk about that kind of stuff. So she says this to me, and I said, oh, well, that's not surprising considering what I do for a living now. And she must have looked me up online because she went, oh, I know. But she goes, I was wondering if you remembered telling me that. No memory of it. So I've always had these abilities. It runs in the family. On both, well, okay, my dad claims he was psychic, but I've never seen any evidence of it. But he's like, I'm Irish, I'm psychic. He thinks it just goes it just goes hand in hand. My mom's side, though, my great grandmother she thought she was talking to the Virgin Mary, and she wasn't schizophrenic. She would get up in the middle of the night, and she lived alone at this point. There would be a woman all in blue standing in her living room, and she would tell her the future. She would tell her, she predicted when my great aunt and her daughter was going to die. She predicted marriages, she predicted births. And then on my grandmother's side of the family, still on mom's side, my grandmother was very psychic. And one time my uncle didn't come home. He was young, he was in high school. He went fishing, he didn't come home. And she knew he had been trapped on the Napa River. She just knew. She called the Coast Guard, whoever you call. I guess you call Coast Guard for the river. I don't know. But anyway, she called the authorities, said, my son is out there. You have to go get him. Sure enough, he was out there and they were stranded. So she saw her when her grandmother died. She walked into the room in my grandmother's bedroom when she was asleep. She woke up. There was her grandmother, full body apparition. And she went, oh, she's dead. And then my mom, when her grandmother died, she saw the same thing. She saw a full body apparition when she passed away. So it runs in the family, but it was never, and that's the thing, it was never a weird thing, and it was never a thing that anybody was making any money off of. It was just kind of like, I thought everybody was like this. I thought everybody's family was like this. I thought every kid was like this. I thought it was normal. I didn't realize it was unusual until I was like an adult.
What's really interesting is that, you're talking about your niece going to Catholic school. So I'm assuming that you're Catholic.
Yeah.
And we're talking about generations. And somehow the religion, as well as the sixth sense, the mediumship, it all blends together. And what I find is a lot of people that have mediumship-like abilities or have these experiences, their faith is going to hold them back from it. But it doesn't sound like that in your family. It feels as though it was pretty well blended.
No, it was completely normalized. But on top of that, the church that we went to was super progressive. Like looking back at it, it's actually gotten more conservative now, but looking back at my childhood, I was like, whoa, they were teaching us sex ed when we were in like 3rd grade. Gay people are fine. We just didn't mention abortion. So it wasn't like, they were doing, it was like, and for the 80s and 90s, that was pretty progressive for a Catholic church. So the only issue I ever ran up against when my nephew also went to the same school, he was in 5th grade and we had a really bad priest. But the guy came in and said, tarot cards, Ouija boards, psychics are evil. They're all going to hell. They all come from the devil. So the poor kid comes home and he's like, Auntie, the guy came in today and said you were going to hell. And I don't want to, I'm not going to cuss because I'm trying to be nice here, but I go, that guy's an a-hole. I said, just don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But that up until then, that church never was super Catholic. I mean, we ate fish on Fridays. Like, you know what I mean? Like we did all the things, Stations of the Cross, the whole deal, but they never really pushed really nasty indoctrination type stuff. They taught us the golden rule and that was it. And I still live my life by it.
Okay.
So yeah, it did not hold me back at all.
Okay. So yeah, that it really feels as though you didn't actually have to do that integration that so many people have to do. So do you think that actually helped your abilities blossom a little bit more?
I think so. Again, because it was so normalized. It wasn't, I mean, I remember in high school coming home and telling my mom, XYZ is going to happen. And she was like, okay. You know, I mean, it was just kind of just totally normalized. And when I got into the tarot, that happened in high school. And again, it's all normal. I was at a store and I saw these cards and I was like, this looks cool. What is this? Never heard of tarot in my life. What is this thing? My mom bought me the cards and she knew what they were because my mom had tarot cards before. And so I started messing around with them. And then at Catholic high school, I had to do a project on a religion, but I was like, I don't want to do a religion. It was a world religions class. So I asked the teacher, can I do the project on tarot cards? And now you're going to love this. So no coincidences. This particular teacher was training to be a Jesuit priest in St. Louis at the time that the true story of The Exorcist was going on.
No.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 100%, right? So he actually told us the story. He told us the true story because he was there. He was there for the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
He was there for the whole thing. And so I guess when you're training to be a priest, you have like a mentor priest. So his mentor priest was one of the main exorcists that went to this little boy's house because it was a little boy, you know. Honestly, he was like, you know what? It was very disappointing. He said nothing really happened. They never witnessed. So all the stuff they're talking about with, the words on the stomach and this, that, and the other, the only thing his particular mentor saw, he said one time a bedside table opened by itself. Didn't close by itself, just opened by itself. And that was it. That was the only thing he witnessed. So I found that to be very interesting. But anyway, he said, sure, go ahead, do it on the tarot. So my whole project was me reading tarot cards for people in class. And when I got out of class, I wasn't super popular. I was a weirdo. I have Uranus in the first house. So, I wasn't a conformist. I was kind of out there. I didn't have like a whole solid core group of friends. And this guy comes up to me, one of the football players, and he's like, oh, will you read my tarot cards? I wanted you to do it in class, but you ran out of time. Sure. And then another person comes up, and then another person comes up. I had a line. I literally had a line of people waiting to get their cards read at lunchtime. Another time somebody was talking, we had some kind of a thing, and my mom taught us how to levitate people. So it's not like, ooh, like in your brain kind of a thing. The way she taught us how to do it is you take only two fingers. You have to support your wrist when you do it. You put the person in a chair, and 2 to 3 people, and you lift the chair up as high as it can go. And it was wild. No, because we were like, sure, whatever, mom. At this point, we're teenagers. Sure, whatever. It sounds crazy. You're out of your mind. But it worked. So it was freaking people out. So we were having people over the house. We're levitating all these people. Somebody talked about it in school. I get somebody running up to me at lunch. Coach Jones wants to see you in the science room. And I'm like, what the hell? So I go in and he goes, young lady, I heard you can levitate people. And I was like, oh my God, like, how did this come up in this class? I'm not even in this class. This man is not my teacher. I don't take this class. It's like, it was some kind of a biology class. So he had me. I said, well, I can't really do it. I need my sister. I can't do it without my sister. He goes, go pull her out of class. So he had somebody else go pull my sister. Yes, I swear to you, in a Catholic high school, pull my sister out of class, She comes in, they get the biggest football player in the room, they sit him in a chair, and it was, I think, too much pressure. We didn't get, because I mean, we were lifting people up all the way up like this way, but we couldn't get him very far off the ground. So people were kind of like, it wasn't that great, but we still got him up. So yeah, it's been my whole life. I didn't start doing it as a living until I got injured at my day job. I got injured at my day job in 2010, and I was hanging out. My great aunt, who was also extremely psychic, she actually had a vision of her son dying in Vietnam. So he was drafted in Vietnam, and she was setting the table one day, and she saw the whole vision of the way he died, and she fainted. She collapsed on the floor, and she said, "We got to call somebody. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead." Well, he wasn't. He was okay. A year later to the day, he died, and he died in the exact way she saw. So she had just recently passed over. I was hanging out with her daughter, who is probably in her 60s. Insanely scary psychic. I mean, she is the best psychic I've ever come across in my life. And she said, because I really wasn't reading cards or anything at that point, I was just kind of living life. She goes, you need to get a deck of tarot cards. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I will. And that's when I really started studying. And I mean, studying for years to be able to read and interpret these cards. And I really took to it. I really took to it. So in the midst of this injury, I had nothing. I couldn't do anything. My whole neck, my whole back, I couldn't move. I was on a lot of drugs, unfortunately. I was really out of it, and I couldn't do anything except tarot. So I studied tarot for a really long time, for about 2 years straight. And then, and this is the point where I'm pulling people. Let me read for you. Let me read for you. Let me, the whole family. Let me read for you. Everything. Let me read for you. And then I start pulling in strangers, and I'm going, let me read for you. Oh, you're a friend of so-and-so. Let me read for you. So I'm doing all these readings for free, getting my time in, basically. And I went down to a place where they did psychic readings in town. And I ran into a brick wall with this injury. I mean, the doctors just weren't helping. Nothing was helping. So I went, to hell with it. I'll go to a psychic. I don't care. So I went down there and I got a reading. And in the middle of the reading, the woman, she pulled out a card or something. And I said, oh, that means blah, blah, blah. And she goes, oh, you read cards? And I said, yeah. And she goes, she picks up the cards, hands them to me, and says, read for me right now.
Oh my goodness.
Right. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did the reading. It was a really good reading. She went to the owner of the shop and said, you need to hire her right now. So that's how I started doing it professionally. And yeah, and then with because I technically by trade, I'm a writer. So I was having trouble getting a lot of eyes on me. This is around 2016, 2017. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to get a reading. And it's funny because my cousin is not reading for me at this point. I mean, she does do readings, but she was very strict about it. I'm only going to read for you ever so often. So if it was before the time period, usually 6 to 9 to 12 months, she'd only do it. Like I would go to see somebody else. So I went to see this guy found on YouTube, a random guy. And he said, it's your year to be seen and heard. And I said, well, I'm just trying to get, eyes on these books that I've written. And he goes, yeah, you should start a YouTube channel. And I was like, what am I going to do? What, am I going to sit there and I'm going to read books on YouTube? That sounds insane. He goes, no, you should, because he knew I had read tarot. He goes, no, you should do tarot.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, how is that going to help me sell books? But, I'm not thinking, at this point, I'm doing readings, but I'm not making a full living off of it. It's pocket change. It's not a lot of money. So I ignore him. My cousin calls me the very same day, and she goes, I was thinking about you. I think you should start a YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And so I went, all right, that's a little spooky. And then the next day I had a friend talking to me, and I didn't mention this out of nowhere. They said, you should really start a YouTube channel. I went, okay, all right, okay, universe. Okay, I'll start the YouTube channel. So I started a YouTube channel. I did not know what I was going to read on. So I started, this was Trump's first term. It was 2017. Everybody's kind of freaking out. And I was like, I guess I'll just read on this guy. Took off. And that's really when I founded Third Eye Champagne. I was like, this whole thing needs a name. I don't want it to just be me. I want it to be a whole business. I want it to be encompassing many, many things. So that's where I got to where I'm very long-winded story. Sorry, Irish, can't help it. But that's how I got to where I am.
Well, it's super unique because how many other professional psychics, mediums were tapped in through other psychics, psychic mediums, and tarot readers. Basically, you had industry people saying, "We need you on this side,"
Yeah.
which is wild.
Yeah. Yeah. It really, I mean, I was absolutely hands down led to it. I mean, I've never, honestly, it's probably the easiest thing I've ever fallen into in my life.
What's your favorite part about it?
About what? About being psychic, about tarot, about the business. I don't know what to answer.
Oh, it's a broad question. We can go all over the place with this one. How about what is your favorite part about this being the majority of what you do? This is now like what you work. This is now what you do personally. This is
Yeah, I created an entire small business basically on the back of my own talent, which every time I say that it freaks me out because I'm like, oh God, it just sounds so like big. Um, my favorite part, two things. I have a real desire to help people. And one of my favorite things is having the satisfaction of doing that and being able to like solve something for someone. I had a client the other day that just lost their pet and they were very upset, and I was able to tap into that. And, by the time the reading was over, ear to ear grin. So it's like I live for stuff like that. The other thing I really love, and I really love this because it always is when I nail something. When I nail something, when I nail a prediction and it comes true, whether it's for a private client or it's something I've done in public or for myself, there's something about it. It's kind of like how I used to feel when I played basketball and I would score. It's like nothing but net. There's a feeling to it like, oh yeah, I nailed that. There's something very cool about it. And on top of it, I'm always amazed by it. It never ceases to amaze me. It's never like, oh yeah, like, oh yeah, I got that. No, no, no. It's always like, oh my God, like I can't believe that came true. Every single time I'm amazed by it. And it never gets old. Never.
love it. Love it. Can you see yourself doing this, 20 years from now?
Oh, it's 100% my path.
Perfect.
It's 100% my path. There's no other path for me. I have not been on top of which I have not worked for anyone, definitely not in corporate America since 2010. So I don't think there's any going back. Like I don't think I can go anywhere else.
Oh my goodness. What are some of the weird things that happen to you being in this energy so often? And for people that don't work as a psychic or a medium, it is a different headspace. It is a different space of perception than when you're just going out and having a hamburger, right? Like when you're working as a psychic or a medium, it feels different. Perception is different. So what are some of those memorable moments?
Well, I've noticed something in the last year or so, which kind of freaks me out. I used to have a very definite I'm on, I'm off switch. Like, okay, I'm doing the work, I'm in the psychic space. Oh, no, I'm not. And I'm like normal, quote unquote. And now the normal quote unquote has just gone to hell. So now I'm always kind of in this state of receiving and perception. And I think partially it developed out of a need to defend myself. So about I have so many good stories. So 3 years ago, I was on my deathbed. I had a near-death experience, and the physician in charge of my case, I had five physicians. My appendix burst while I was I didn't know it. I had no idea. And I got this really nasty abscess and it looked like I was 6 months pregnant. And I went to urgent care twice and God bless you for being in Canada. Can I just say, I went to urgent care twice and they charged me a ton of money and then said, oh, you're fine. Go home.
Oh, wow.
Did not correctly diagnose me. So I end up in the ICU and I'm dying, but the doctors don't tell me I'm dying, but I'm dying. And the head physician that was in charge of my case, I want to say was demonic. And I don't use that phrase like angels and demons. It's just when I can't think of anything with worse energy, I use the term demonic. So, I mean, this person had some of the worst energy in the world. And I remember as I'm laying there dying and, hopped up on all whatever they're giving me and antibiotics and all this and that. And they wouldn't let me eat. I couldn't eat for 3 days. I lost so much weight. It was terrifying. I'm going, I can't let this lady touch me. She wanted to cut me open. She wanted to cut me all the way open. She kept insisting I had cancer. I mean, it was just this. And ever since then, I've been on 24/7. And I truly think because of that, some part of me said, no, we're not shutting this off anymore. We need this. We need this on all the time now. It was a miracle that I escaped that woman's clutches. It was an absolute miracle. When I first landed in the hospital, they kept misdiagnosing me, kept saying I had cancer, you had ovarian cancer, you have this, you have that. They finally realized, hey, her appendix burst. And she wanted to cut me open, remove most of my intestines and my colon and everything, and basically leave me hobbled for life with a colostomy bag and the whole deal. And the only reason she didn't do it is because I was a total diva in there. I didn't know I was dying. So I kept demanding food. I was like, you need to feed me. I'm hungry. I want my food right. And there, and I've got this giant abscess. I'm all IV'd up. They're thinking I'm dying and I'm demanding food. So it's the only reason she didn't do it. But even after that, when I recovered, she was like, I still need to cut you open because you have tumors. There's tumors in there. I mean, she was insistent upon it. It was insane. And I'm fine. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with me. But ever since that moment, I think it's just been the psychic abilities have been on.
It has, with your psychic abilities being on all the time or almost all the time, is it exhausting?
No, it's actually not. But what I don't love about it, you're talking about perception. My perception is totally different now. It's just like 24 hours a day. I'm seeing things, I'm feeling things differently. And I don't love it because I'm just not used to it, and it's a little weird, but I get Reiki at least once a month. No, what am I talking about? I get it every week. Kirsten, I get Reiki once a week. And then my Reiki guy gives me a really good going over once a month. And I have this amazing healer. So when I got out of the hospital, this woman contacted me. You should have her on. Her name is Debbie Loshbaugh. She is really good. She contacted me. She said, I've been watching you for years. I want to help you heal from your ordeal. And she said, I'm not going to charge you for it.
Oh, wow.
So I've been working with Debbie for the last 3 years. And if anything weird goes down, she is the first person I call. So yeah, I mean, because I've attracted a lot of weird stuff. I had ghosts in this house. One of them set my kitchen on fire. I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding you. So I do a show called Drunk Tarot where I have a little champagne, of course, because Third Eye Champagne.
Yeah. Okay.
And I started out doing tarot. It pretty much evolved into exclusively mediumship, which I do, but I'm not in love with. It's just not my thing. But if you get a little drink in me, then I'm like, all right, who are we going to talk to? So it was right after Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries had passed away.
Okay.
And I felt her come in the room. I felt it. And she wasn't happy. She was pretty angry. And the energy was really heavy. I don't think she passed away in a really good space, emotionally or mentally. So I think that I was feeling this really heavy energy. I had a friend with me. And I said, I don't want to talk to her anymore. We can't talk to her anymore. And it was so gnarly that I got a little sage stick out and I just like saged a little bit. All of this is on camera, live. I live stream these shows. So I did the sage. Let me just say this. I have to say this. It was out, okay? I made sure it was out. I ran it under the faucet. I put the sage in the kitchen. And somebody on camera goes, I think there's smoke coming out of your kitchen. So my friend Megan, who's with me, she gets up, she goes, holy crap, the kitchen's on fire. The sage was flaming. The whole thing was on fire. I mean, no, there was major, major smoke. I mean, it was insane. And to this day, I swear to God, it was Dolores O'Riordan. I swear to God, because I'm telling you, I ran that thing underwater.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, when stuff like that goes down, that's when I call Debbie because I can't, that. So I think because I have this team of people around me, it enables me to do the work that I do the weird stuff that I do, like talking to dead celebrities, but also to kind of stay on 24/7 because if I didn't have them, I'd probably be sick all the time and just a hot mess. But yeah, I've had some very anytime anything weird crops up in this house, I'm just like, Debbie, what's going on in my house?
Oh, wow. Um, that's honestly, that's pretty wild. It sounds like Dolores maybe needed a little bit more smudging.
I think she needed a little bit more. I had another one where I was talking to Howard Hughes, of all people. And I had a little light, like a little tiny light kind of right behind my computer, right behind my camera. It wasn't one of those really big ones. It was just like a little light, just to improve my appearance. And he's getting mad because I'm asking him about his mental illness. I'm saying, hey, I want to kind of look at it. I want to read on it. If you don't want to talk about it, I would like to just read on it. I can just read on it without you talking to me. And he says to me, if you continue with this line of questioning, I'm turning that light off. I mean, clear as day. I repeat this again, it's a live stream. I repeat this on camera. And I said, what I did too? I was just not cool. I went, you know what? To hell with him. I'm going to look anyway. Boom, light immediately goes off. I mean, immediately goes off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've got some really good. One of my favorite things to do, and what I'm really moving into, I love to travel and I love to look at just very bizarre paranormal, even ghost hunt, Bigfoot, whatever it is, cryptids, weird people. I don't care. I love it. So I went to, it's one of my favorite ones. I went to the Grand Canyon, and while I was in Flagstaff, our guide for the Grand Canyon says, oh, this hotel, with name I'm going to forget, of course, is super haunted. And I had my boyfriend used to work there, and the glasses would break in the bar. And we had a friend stay there once. He actually ran outside naked because he was so freaked out by what had happened in his room. He wouldn't go back in. So I got to go check out this hotel. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. But I went, I had my nephew with me at the time, and we're just filming. We're just kind of filming around the lobby, We didn't stay there. I don't think I could stay there. But I captured an EVP that scared the hell out of me. So we don't hear anything while we're there. We hear nothing. We're kind of on the stairwell recording things. And when I got home, I'm editing the video, and you distinctly hear this voice. And I mean it again, like demonic, like scary, like a movie, like The Exorcist.
Oh
Get
gosh.
out. I mean, it's clear as a bell. Get out. And then the weird thing is, because I never heard it while I was there, and I never felt too weird. Immediately after you hear the EVP, I turned to my nephew and I said, I think we should go.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I picked up on it unknowingly, not realizing. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things I've picked up on camera. Another one was I'm a Portuguese, so we have a Portuguese hall here where we do a bunch of mostly religious stuff, but it's super haunted. It's insanely haunted. So I love to ghost hunt this hall. It was this close to being on Ghost Adventures, and then they kind of said, we don't like the religious aspect. We don't want to mess with that, so they didn't end up going with us. But I'm there. I find a prop cigarette on the stairwell. So I grabbed it also on camera. I have this on camera. I grab it, I put it on a table, and I have the filter facing a window. And hey, if you're here, please move the cigarette so the filter's facing the other direction. About 2 minutes later, I'm walking away from it. I walk away from it, working, is anybody here? Can anybody talk to us? The usual. And we go, oh, nothing's happening up here. We're going to go back downstairs. Turn around to go, come up on the table. The cigarette had been turned, the filter was now facing the other direction.
They just didn't want you to see it. That's awesome.
Did not capture the actual turning on camera, but when we turned around, there it was. I mean, and I screamed. I'm still amazed by this stuff. This stuff happens, and I'm like, oh, it's always new and fun for me. Never gets old, ever.
So I've got 2 questions. Can you go to places like Gettysburg if you're energetically open now?
Yeah, I go to all the places. I'm not afraid of anything, which is kind of to my detriment. But I did do a Civil War tour a little bit. I never got to Gettysburg. I was at a massive battle. Of course, can't remember the name of that either. Thank you, perimenopause. But I was at a massive battle site in Tennessee, and I also recorded this, and it was, oh my God, it was like it was still happening. So when I walked into the space, nobody's there. I'm the only person there. It's me and the camera. And it was like if somebody started ringing a bell right next to your ear and just kept ringing it and ringing it and ringing it and ringing it. I mean, the energy was wild to me. I didn't stay there very long. I think I was there about 30 minutes. I bet because it felt like it was happening. It felt like there were men running around me, The one thing I don't have, which I wish I did, I can't very often do I see anything visually. So I obviously I was seeing ghosts when I was a child. That went away. Unfortunately, it's got to be in there somewhere, but I don't have it anymore. So I didn't see any people running around or ghosts running around, but I could feel it. I could feel it. And it was, like I said, just extremely chaotic. So after a while, you're not getting any information. I mean, you're psychic,
Yeah.
right? After a while, you're just like, I mean, there's stuff here, but nothing's coming through clearly. I'm not getting any information anymore. I'm just feeling these crazy feelings. So eventually I just left. But yeah, I've done a couple of Civil War battlefields, and they all kind of had the same really weird, chaotic vibe, but at the same time, an eerie stillness to it. So I think on the non-psychic side, I'm feeling this eerie stillness, but on the psychic side, it's like there's all this action going on.
Okay, so if one of our viewers or listeners goes to a location that might be active, whether they know it or not, and they feel like maybe something's kind of like stuck to them, or maybe they're bringing something home, what kind of tips and tricks do you have for them to kind of move away from that energy if they don't have the kind of people that you've got supporting you?
One of the biggest things, because I'm constantly clearing energy. I mean, I am constantly clearing energy, and I think, and I see, I didn't even mention it to you when you asked me before, because it's so second nature to me. But I think one of the things you can do, one of the big things you can do is ground yourself, go outside, bare feet if you can, in the grass or the dirt or whatever. That's a biggie, and just feel all of that energy draining on you. Another thing that I always do is I cut cords. And I tell people, because it's weird because I get a lot of skeptical people I'm like, why are you paying me? You're skeptical. Why are you paying for this? But one of the things I tell them, that even if you don't believe that you're cutting cords, it's signaling something to your brain psychologically that's saying, I am no longer connected to this person, place, or thing. So even if you don't believe in energetic cords, it's still doing something for you. I would recommend people cut cords. I think a salt bath is really good, and you imagine all of that stuff draining out. Also, one of the biggest things I learned from Debbie, she straight up says, I now command XYZ. And my newest and most favorite phrase is, I now command. So you can always say, I now command that whatever is attached to me or what have you, go back to where it came from or whatever. I think if it gets to a point where you are having sleep disturbances, you kind of get sick out of nowhere, weird, chaotic stuff starts happening to you, you start having a run of bad luck. That's when you call somebody that does this professionally. That's when you call a Debbie or somebody else that says, okay, yeah, you know, you need somebody else to get their hands in there. But if you're just feeling funky or feeling low, um, another one I like too is I now command that everything less than 100% light leave my aura, leave my person, leave my home, leave my mind, leave my heart immediately.
Yep.
There's so much power in spoken word. There's so much power to it.
And I mean, I think maybe a lot of people don't realize how much personal power that they have on their own. They
Yeah.
they don't need to give up their power, give up their sovereignty to someone else to do the work for them.
No, you don't. I think only when you get really gnarly cases, when it's kind of like, oh, okay, this isn't, all these things I'm doing are not working. That's when you need to call somebody. That's when you need to lay out money. And I hate with my private clients, I'm always saying, you know, I want to make sure that you don't have to pay any extra money. You've already paid me for this reading, you know, but there's certain times where I'm going, you know, I don't know if you're going to be able to do this by yourself. So keep this number handy, you know, keep this name handy.
Okay, and just so we're not dropping people into fear,
Mm.
the spooky stuff, it doesn't happen every day. It's not really that common of an occurrence.
The spooky, yeah, no, you have to go after it. You have to go get it. You know what I mean? I'm
Yes.
drunk talking to dead people. Of course my kitchen's going to get set on fire. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like you have to go get it. And I think also one of the big things too is if you're going to look for trouble, quote unquote. But if you're going to
Mhm.
look for it, you want to go, oh, I want to go to ghost hunt. It'll be so much fun. Sure, it'll be totally fun and you're going to have a great time. If you go in with real deep fear in your heart, it's not gonna turn out well for you. So one of the big things that I approach everything with, and this is a huge one, is joy. Yes, I will go look for Bigfoot, and I'm totally, it's an adventure. I will get the scariest EVP I've ever heard in my life,
Yep.
and it's still totally an adventure. My kitchen gets set on fire. It's an adventure. So I think your mindset, if you're going to look for paranormal stuff or cryptids or whatever, I think your mindset has 100% to do with your experience. So if you are going into something like, I'm really afraid of this, I don't like it, it freaks me out, you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be doing it. And also I have to say this, that, you know, no, regular normal people are not going to get their kitchen set on fire by a ghost. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You know, I mean, if you have paranormal stuff going on in your house, everything's what I tell my clients. Everything is fixable. Nothing is permanent. So even if you're dealing with something weird or paranormal, it's fixable. It's always fixable. It's always, don't pay attention to the movies and all that, you know, Stephen King and all that stuff. You know, that's for entertainment. That's not IRL. That's not how life works. But I don't think that for the most part, I don't think there's any reason to go into any of this with fear. It's just it's just life, and it can be really fun. And if you run into a problem, there are people that can help you. If you can't fix it yourself, somebody else can for sure.
Beautiful. That's actually my thoughts exactly on that issue as well. It's the way I approach everything, because when you live in a world where this is your world, it does become, it's almost like an occupational hazard. So you just have to understand what's going on. And I love all of your stories. I love the idea of having some really freaky EVPs. Um,
You know, and I haven't gotten a really good one since. I don't know if that was like my quota for EVPs. I've only gotten about 3 of them. You know, and then you watch these ghost shows and like, we got another EVP, we got another one, we got another one. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming it's editing and they didn't really get all these EVPs, but for me, I'm like, it's rare.
yeah, yeah, but so cool. So cool. Okay, so Kirsten, what are you up to now? How can people find you? What's going on?
What am I up to now? I'm right now in this moment, I am dividing my time between doing my show, Third Eye Champagne, which which is all encompassing of the business, but I have a subscription website called thirdeyechampagne.com. I also have a Patreon. They both get almost the same content. Thirdeyechampagne.com gets a little bit more. But I do live shows every Thursday. I do a live stream every Thursday where I read on everybody's requests. But I also have throughout the week. So I'm doing a series right now on American gangsters. They're actually all born in Italy, but most of them. But so my series on American gangsters, I read on Carlo Gambino, I read on John Gotti, I read on Bonnie and Clyde, John Dillinger. That I live for. The live streams I love because I get to connect with everybody. But the other stuff that I'm doing as far as shows go, it's definitely the travel stuff, paranormal travel. And then the American Gangster. Last year I did Haunted Hollywood, where, oh my God, I need to quit because we need to get out of here. But I had the most intense reading with Bugsy Siegel. I did not know how he died. I had no idea. So he was gunned down at his girlfriend's house in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I was unaware of this. I had no idea. I had the most intense reading with this guy. He came through so clear, and he's kind of screaming at people like, you don't understand, blah blah blah, like he just kind of belligerent. It was amazing. So that's a lot of what I'm doing right now is the live streams and then the extra shows and private readings. I'm currently booking for July right now, so I'm booked out a little bit. That's kind of my jam. I'm just running around filming what I can when I can. My next trip, I think, is going to be to Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald's house in Alabama. Well, it's really Zelda's house because I don't think Scott ever lived there. But it's Zelda Fitzgerald's house in Alabama. I think I'm going to go and see if I can dig up any ghost stuff out of there. So yeah, that's what I'm up to lately.
Oh wow, that's really. Do you think Zelda's going to show up before you show up at the house?
I hope so. One of the interesting things is my great aunt that I was telling you about, whose son died in Vietnam. She said to me, probably in high school, she said, "You know who you are. You're Zelda Fitzgerald." And she, from that date on, never called me Kirsten ever again. She always called me Zelda, always called me Zelda. And I kind of have a vibe with Zelda. I kind of have a little vibe with who also died very tragically. She had a very tragic death. She actually passed away in a fire in a psychiatric hospital. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But she and Scott kept in touch for the rest of their lives. So yeah, I am very excited to go and she's sort of my namesake in a way. So I'm very excited to go and see her house and see if she'll come forward and see what I can pick up.
Oh, that's exciting. It's going to be like a homecoming. Oh my goodness, that's fabulous.
I know, and I've never been. I very briefly went through Alabama. I went to the USS Alabama to get some paranormal footage. Got nothing. Absolutely nothing. I was on the USS Alabama alone for about 2 hours.
No.
Video, audio, nothing.
Wow. See, you and psychic mediums can strike out on that. Do you think they're just hiding from you?
I wonder, because you know this when you walk into a place and it feels alive. You know that feeling where you're like, oh, something is here, like something's watching me, or the building itself feels alive. It's that feeling. So I get on the ship and I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna get some good stuff. Nothing. So I don't know if they were hiding. Maybe they didn't like the cut of my jib. I don't know. But maybe I wasn't respectful enough. I don't know. Wandering around in a mini skirt. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they wanted a man because they were all men on that ship. Maybe they wanted to deal with a man. I don't know. But I couldn't pick up anything. I will tell you, I have to go. I know we're so late here, but the Queen Meri. So I did the Queen Meri. See, I'm telling you that the travel is where it's at for me right now. I did the Queen Meri last year, and I'd never been on the Queen Meri, which this is insane. So one of my frequent guests on my Drunk Tarot is Bobby Kennedy, who has predicted that man will come in and predict stuff that has he's nailed it. It has come true. It's frightening. So I was actually at Disneyland, and I get a phone call from the Queen Mary, and they said, we have to upgrade you. If you don't mind, we need to upgrade you. I said, sure, okay, sure. So I end up in the Duke of Edinburgh's suite, and it's the only room, suite of rooms, I should say, that Bobby Kennedy would stay in when he went on the Queen Mary. So I got Bobby's
No.
room. Yes, I got Bobby's room. And the Queen Mary, now that I got some insane EVPs there. And I mean, it was constant. It was constant. The funny thing is, I was reading the ship, and in between I'd pause, there would be these EVPs. And then when I asked for EVPs, and I'm sitting there, does anybody have anything to say? Blah, blah, blah. Nothing. Dead air.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that weird? But yeah, the Queen Mary, I will vouch for it. Insanely haunted. Frighteningly haunted.
It sounds like somewhere I'd love to go.
Oh, I'm telling you, you will feel it the minute you walk on there as a medium. You feel it, and you know and it feels like it's crowded, like nobody ever left, kind of a thing.
You know what? In that them not talking when you ask them to provide an EVP, that could just be that they didn't want to take orders. It's like such a personality trait. It's such a personality trait.
It is. And I also wonder if it's because they're going, listen, lady, we already said everything we had to say in the last 45 minutes. Like, we don't need to talk anymore. You know, I mean, and the EVPs were, I mean, you hear these people talking. It sounds like they're right next to the camera. It's terrifying. I mean, in a good way, in a fun way, but yeah, it's amazing.
Love it. Okay. Thank you very much, Kirsten, for being on the show today. Again, everybody, this is Kirsten Langston, Third Eye Champagne. Check out her on YouTube, TikTok, all the socials.
Yes, I'm on all the socials. If you want to book with me, you're going to go to kirstenlangston.rocks. And that's where you can book a reading with me. If you want to check out Third Eye Champagne, you don't have to be a paying member to check out what I've got on thirdeyechampagne.com. There are such a bevy of things for people that are non-paying guests. I highly recommend it. You're going to love it. It's super fun. We have a really good time. And the community there, I have to say this, I have to give a shout out to this community. The community of people I have around me is so amazing, so kind, so compassionate, so wonderful, so supportive. I have had people that have been watching me since 2017 that never stopped. And when you join these people, when you come on one of these live streams, they are so sweet, so welcoming. I have a ton of Canadians. I love my Canadians. You guys have an election coming up, which I'm very interested in. But everybody's so sweet and so kind. So it really is. I have to thank them. I have to thank my entire audience and my supporters, because I wouldn't be able to do this without them. I would not. I would, without their support, I would just be a little Scorpio in my hole, and I would not come out. So just want to shout out to them.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you again, Kirsten. It was really lovely hearing all your stories and you sharing your sunny weather with us. Hopefully it makes its way up to Ontario.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss one of our episodes? Replay our episode on Rhode Island Broadcasting. Show your support for Haunting Live by supporting our broadcast partner, Rhode Island Broadcasting. Find them on YouTube. For more Haunting Live real experiences, be sure to follow us on our social, on Instagram, Thread, Facebook, and also Blue Sky. And don't forget to also check us out on our official website, HauntingLivePodcast.com.